right, so now officially welcome to this year's EMEA Regional Partner Meetings Marketing Workshop. Emilio and I, also Richard from the Marketing Board, welcome you to this session, and we are all happy you are participating in here, discussing with us, creating value for our international clients. And we are actually recording this workshop. Richard is doing this with a smartphone for the intranet, so that all our people that cannot participate in here can also take part in the results and in the discussions. So what we are going to do today is first we will present you the results of our online international clients strategy. Have there been any one of you guys filling out the online questionnaire on international client strategy? Please raise your hand. Okay, no one has. So yeah, that's actually pretty good. So we have different views here, but we will show you the results of other people. We had like 66 people answering this online poll, what they have answered. Then we have a best practice example explaining from Emilio how he and his colleagues has grown the international business in Italy. And then, and this will be also a pretty big chunk of our workshop today, there will be group work on value proposition and pricing strategy for international clients specifically. And this is where you need the worksheets that are on tables. And in the end, we maybe come up with conclusions that we cannot foresee right now because we have been going through a lot of discussion, and we will jump into this at this point and take it with us as a result of this workshop. So the topic is international client strategy, and we will be focusing on how to defining from a marketing perspective how we create value for these clients. And the concept of value proposition is always a concept where we really would like to understand the client's view on our service. So this is what we are going, this is the perspective we are taking in. And a few weeks ago, we did an online poll asking all international partners about international clients in general, and I just present you the results here. And just as an overview, who has answered these questions? We had 66 participants in the online poll, and from all service lines. Actually, probably in the back you cannot read these things here, but you can. Okay. So you have really good eyes. It's excellent. So all the service lines are represented in the answers here of our online poll. And so we ask with closed questions, what's the most important value that we offer international clients? And as you see, the most value answered by the international partners was that we offer an extensive global network access. Second was access to a vast network as experts that was seen as really valuable asset of the international for international clients. Then comes support with international expansions and transactions, and then specialized cross-border expertise, followed by support with international transactions, improved global compliance and regulatory navigation, and enhanced international expansion support. Then there were also others, and people put in their ideas on what the value of our services for international clients are. And this is actually where we realized when looking at the results of this online survey, that it's really hard to discuss and distinguish when we talk about international clients in general, as well as all of our service lines in general. So that's why when we are discussing today here in this workshop, we will focus later on to choose specific client segments and specific services that we are talking about from the perspective of value proposition and pricing strategy. And actually, you should have received an email by myself with this specific working sheet. Who has read this working sheet before the workshop? Please raise your hands. Okay, we have 3 people who are well prepared, and you can explain later the numbers what's going on. No, it's no problem. It's just for me to understand that we are going through this thing later on. Okay, I'm just explaining this because we have learned from our online poll that, I mean, quite obviously it is important to go more into detail, but just we received so many answers in the other section here, and we couldn't summarize it because we didn't know what kind of clients and kind of services people had in mind when they were answering this, and that's why we are focusing the work in this workshop here on these specific tasks. But what other results did we have in the workshop? Question was, what opportunities do you see in the future with international clients in the office from a strategic standpoint from the office? And yeah, actually, the biggest point here was attract staff who is interested in working for international clients. So there's a strong opinion here that it is more interesting for staff that many of us have problems to get and retain when they are able also to work for international clients. And then other opportunity that was seen is effectively use automation and AI technology for international clients. Also here was a point where there were big chances seen. And then increased prices was seen as a chance, and develop automation and AI technology for international work within our network. And then smaller parts maintaining prices at the current level. And also with a strategic perspective, ask what risks do you see in the future with international clients or with this segment of your firm's business? Biggest point was price pressure from increased competition. So you see that a little bit contradicts what was said before, that there was seen the chance to increase the prices, but on the other hand, there's also potential price pressure from increased competition. Technology risks, larger companies in our industry are able to develop AI technology and automation better than we might, looking from an investment perspective. Risk of being able to find enough skilled people for the international client work we potentially have, and not having enough skilled people. Great to see you. So this was the questions generally for the strategy, the role that international clients play in the offices, and then we really went into looking, how much international business there is actually within the international partner firms. And I have to admit, we do not have very representative information here, but first one look. And we only had like 14 people answering the question, what proportion of the firm's total turnover is generated with international clients. And what's interesting to see here is that we have offices that have relatively small amount, a small proportion with international business, with international clients, and we have offices that have over 50% up to 80% business with international clients. And actually, this is the first time we asked the partner firms these kind of questions. Obviously, Kai and people working with each other have an idea of this, but from a marketing strategy perspective, it's really important for us to create an understanding what's going on there. Also, in our discussion in the marketing board, looking at the results, we also concluded that maybe some offices did not include their local clients they have that are doing international business within the question. When we were asking what proportion of the firm's total turnover is generated with international clients, maybe some partners thought only about what's coming from Rosario's team.
Can I just ask you? I was the one fulfilling this form for our law firm.
Yeah.
And at the very beginning, I had a question: how do you define international clients? Are these the clients that work outside, specifically Croatia?
Yeah.
Or if we include our local companies who
Yes.
are subsidies of the bigger international clients, then the answer is much different.
Yes.
But there was no definition.
Yeah,
so in the end, I have excluded local companies, even though they are part of international chains, because in that case, our answer would be much higher. I have only included the services which we actually export and which we invoice to foreign companies without VAT or something like this. That's the main criteria. But I found that question confusing. I have to admit.
So, and this is how also the guys asking the questions learn from the answers we are getting. And we just came to the conclusion that we really would like to collect these kind of informations on an annual basis from the partners, but clarifying what we mean by international business. But I wanted to show you, I mean, this picture is anyway there. We have firms with quite a lot proportion of international business, and our firms with quite small ones,
depending on countries, right?
Depending on countries, depending on the business structure of the firm. And then we also ask what's your target percentage of revenue from international clients in the year 2030, and we've seen that also the firms that at the moment say, okay, we have relatively little international business, they want to grow their international business, and this is what's important for us to understand also if we discuss about developing the business and also our marketing. And then we also looked into what percentage of your international income has been referred from EcoWIS International Network. And we have several offices with 0%, and then offices with up to 15%. So I think this is a number that is also interesting to see. I mean, Richard, we also have offices that receive much more referral, up to 60 or 70% or something like that.
So why do you think the response rate is so low to questions regarding fee income?
Because we also had answers that people do not track this kind of information in their office. So some people find it very, I don't know it, and they don't ask it. And actually, this poll was on relatively short notice, so people had to answer what they had in mind. And so many did not answer because they actually don't know the numbers.
If I may, on this, near the fact, well, it doesn't. But it's very true that some of us don't track. And I can make an example of among our biggest offices with the 4 or 5 partners that work together every day. But if the business is referred to one of the 4, the other 3 don't necessarily know. So this happens regularly.
So it depends on
if they don't
filling out the survey. The person filling out the survey doesn't have all the information necessary.
That's right. So not all of, obviously there are some that really track and have a pipeline that invest money in terms of tracking.
It would be very interesting to have that information.
That's right. I mean, we started to gather this information, and it was international a network and not a centralized firm. Of course, we do not have a common reporting system, but maybe in the future we will share more of this information. But anyway, we looked at this from the marketing standpoint and also from the understanding, what kind of resources are our partner firms able to put into international business development and marketing development, because it also comes along with development of the people and the skills you need for this kind of business. And that's why this view was just interesting for us. And then the question is, do you see a future opportunity and allocate your resources to international clients rather than local clients? So we really ask the questions strategically, is it more favorable for you to invest your business more in the direction of international clients rather than local clients? Because actually, from a strategic standpoint, we've seen people see a great chance of sourcing people, recruiting more with international work, and then we also have the question of competition, and this is where we want to discuss in this workshop later on. And actually, there's quite divided answers. Some people do not see the chance more in international clients, and others totally clearly see that there are better chances. Yeah. And it's, of course, it depends on the business of the firm, but I think when we are talking about developing joint marketing strategies for certain services, for certain clients, we need to keep these kind of things in mind. Yeah, we have to understand that we are talking with people with different businesses, and we have to clear who we are addressing. All right. Yeah. So far, the input on the survey we had so far. Maybe also as a bit of background information for you for our discussion in the working groups later. And now, Emilio, I hand over to you for your example of how you have grown the international business in Italy.
Yeah. The gray is welcome everyone. The discussion is really interesting in these days because we have seen from the experience of the network and some numbers that we have big potentials, because if the rate of the number, the percentage of the international client is low, we increase our possibility to double it, to increase it, to triple it. So our suggestion is to think about the activity of the marketing board and the marketing in Ecovis as the opportunity to use our potentials better in the future competition, because a lot of technology and technological evolution will impact on the smaller and the local client activities. So the more these activities will be done by computers, the more we should concentrate and do our best to serve more complex clients. And the experience for us was starting from 2015. We joined in 2012-13 Ecovis. In the beginning, we had some referrals from the other partners, but then started a different process, a different approach to improve and increase the number of international clients. And the two boxes here show that we have all firm. Our firm is large enough because we are 110 people on 3 offices. So in general, the numbers are not small numbers, but we have dedicated specialized team. So one of the teams in Torino office is more dedicated than other to international client. And as you may see here, we started in 2015 with 5% referrals from Ecovis partners and 10% of the clients you mentioned before. So the local subsidiaries, so local clients, but belonging to international groups, and therefore with a certain expectation in terms of language, in terms of accounting, because even if the local firm is ruled by Italian GAAP, the accounts normally should be delivered in US GAAP. Or this is the starting situation, all firm. And this is the starting situation of the Torino team. Nearly zero with Ecovis and 5% of these international clients. In the year 2023, we are very happy to see that at the firm level, we have doubled the number of engagement and influences, more than triple the turnover, because this is percentage. But we have reached now a threshold, psychological threshold, which is very important for our partners as well, because we have many partners, they are not working with Ecovis, they don't know very well all the friends and the partners. And when they see that 10% of our revenues come from the activity that we perform to develop new clients, they are very, it's very important to demonstrate that we have further potential to grow. And for Torino office, this is particularly interesting because we have had an increase, dramatic increase of the percentage with the Ecovis clients, and further increase from 15% to 28% with other international clients. How? Here is like the receipt, the ingredients, and we think that one-stop shop is a particularly appreciated quality by international firms and Ecovis clients, and Rosario as well is a key point to explain how this receipt can work, because we are not only talking about potential ability to cover different services, but also the possibility to study more English. So we are providing people with free course of English during their work hours, and fast feedback and proactivity, because we work a lot in preparing proposal very, very quickly. So the responsiveness to question, engagement, quotation, proposal, in our view, is really key in order to demonstrate to the client since the beginning that you are proactive in analyzing the potential cooperation and in providing your idea of how the solution can work, both from price perspective, but especially on the description of the activities that you have to perform, because normally international clients are very, very committed in asking you the lower quotation and giving you a maximum charge of work if you are not careful in describing exactly the scope of the work. Then we can see the fact that team specialization may work, because people that increase their experience and know-how in dealing with international companies are the more and more able to meet the expectation of international clients. So our suggestion is dedicate specifically teams and people to this activity. We have also highlighted the flexibility, which is key in our view with international groups, because normally they don't like that much the local systems, the IT system, ERP, and the accounting system. So we have tried to hire very young people, because they are more flexible in using SAP or JD or the system of the client, and not all the time the same system they are used to do, like people working for you since 30 years. It's very hard to tell them you should use QuickBooks. They don't know it, they are afraid to make mistakes, and people of 26, 28, in minutes, they can find themselves comfortable with different menus, different reports, and the flexibility of the technology. Strong interaction with our business development team is key, because we just don't sit in our office waiting for Rosario to call, but we provide a lot of inputs and we call him for follow-ups. We try to give our opinion when we see tenders. So every time I want him to give me back all the answer of all the countries, so that we can take a look from really on the field perspective if we are proposing something reasonable to clients in terms of differences or approach. Some prices are not convincing, so maybe we come back to the other partner and say, but have you noticed that you have quoted too much to go? And I would say time to market and timely reporting. Of course, international clients require the preparation of activities, both the setup but also the day-by-day delivery of the accounting reports, monthly report, management accounting, or tax calculation, really in days after the closing of every period or every cycle. Normally, we start from thinking that we are the best consultant of level and that we should sell directly legal consulting, tax consulting. This is not really successful because we have a terrible competition on those core business, our core business. And so what we can witness as our experience is that we started from being very flexible, very available for base services, so payroll, so accounting, so administrative service. We give them our support to open a bank account, which normally you say, oh, I'm the big consultant. If you want a bank account, you just take a plane and come and visit Italian banks. If you get their trust, their appreciation, and you meet the expectation on this base service, we call them icebreakers, because it's easier to participate tenders, it's easier to provide appreciate support. Then 90% of the time, higher added value activities come. So in our experience, the workflows can be, don't be in a hurry, don't be pushy for big projects or big consulting. They will come, of course. But the starting point may be often the base approach of administrative outsourcing, with all the effort that this requires in terms of people training, people motivation, people hiring, people availability. Finally, this is the picture of the organization. Means that we have created a team. The team is centrally organized by a girl. The name is Julia. She's fantastic. As customer manager, we have decided to create a new player in our firm. Means that every time we are approached by Rosario or by a client asking for quotation, engagement, explanation, who I can contact to ask this and that, and month after month, Julia she's 29, I think. She's collecting more and more from clients their request, and she's trying to understand where in the organization the question, the expectation have been addressed, and if we have the follow-up and the answer timely and responsibly. And also, basing upon all this information, she has speed up a lot the invoicing, because when the person controls the flows of activity with the client, she's immediately in the condition to prepare and send out the invoice. And the more the invoices are quick, the more the international clients are happy, because they control and they remember what you're talking about. And if they have had some problems, they can discuss timely and quickly. The team is formed by an accounting team, 28, 29, 30, coordinated by a senior manager, 55. Again, 50, 30, 35 in the payroll team. And it's not easy to find out in the payroll or in accounting people speaking English, but 95 of the interaction are now mail, ChatGPT, and automatic translation, and they all write fantastic emails. Really, in English, I'm amazed. They don't know English, but they are writing fantastic English emails to clients. And also during team calls, there are a lot of devices that translate and write in real time the discussion with the clients. So people, when they are young, a little bit afraid of the contact with the international controllers or the head of the European headquarters, they don't speak Italian at all. They are now more less afraid, less worried, because during the call they can read at the same time the discussion in their screen. So our suggestion is to find out really a point of contact, really a person pretty much oriented to understand the expectation and meet the timing of the request of the client. And we also, based on her experience, have changed quite a lot the communication, because she asked us to attend the EMEA marketing group, and I think she's one of the most responsive, because she wants to write news and article based upon our experience. For instance, she is a key person in foreign employer service line. You know, this brand new activity, people moving around with the laptop, working from one country to another, and the company, they don't want to be registered in the country. So they hire the person locally, and you give the foreign employer the possibility to have an employee in your legislation being the social contribution representative and providing a certain amount of labor laws, consulting, employment agreement, hiring, payroll, and so and so. But they don't know nearly nothing of your legislation. So there is a hard work of explaining how it works, what they should expect, what they should file, the collection of the documents, KYC, and so and so. So that's our experience, and we think that coming back to our numbers, this is not an activity that may happen if you just sit and wait for your colleague call as it happened to be. We joined Ecovis and we didn't have this kind of approach. Someone called you and you were happy of the call with a good referral. But to promote this activity, we do believe that it's really interesting, because it changes a little bit your focus, your organization, reduce the age, and allow you to hire people. We discuss a lot in the marketing board if it's before the egg or the chicken. So if you increase your probability to have an international client by hiring people spending in technology or English lessons, or it's vice versa. If you really are focused on serving the international client, day after day, you are improving your technology, your English, and you can hire talents. So that's, we think, is a fantastic perspective that we have in Ecovis, to increase, to double, to triple the numbers of our international business, because it's not just pretty and funny, it's in our view the chance to be more safe before the impact of the technology on the ordinary business with local clients. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Guillermo. And for you guys, yeah, this was, so to say, the appetizers, the input for your brain to think, in strategic client segments and strategic client services. And now I would like to explain to you how we would like you to work right now in 4 working groups on the topics of value proposition and pricing strategy. And for this, you will work with this worksheet. And first first step is that we build groups. You choose a group based on what service or service bundle you would like to discuss. So this is in section 2 here of the worksheet. And we have prepared, and we would like you to choose one of these 6 proposed services. So we have M&A. I don't know, do we have enough M&A people here in this room? Probably not, because we have parallel an M&A workshop. Or would someone like to work with M&A as service line? Background? You have now 20 minutes time, and you go through actually the questions that are written here on the paper under 3, discussing the value proposition. And then secondly, the pricing strategy. There are specific questions on this worksheet here. I would like you to work out in a group and write down your answers on a flip chart with a headline, what service, client group, that we can understand later on what's going on. Okay?
So, practically, we picked up on the global company setup, and we discussed the 2 points: the value proposition and the pricing strategy. Okay, then there were the first areas which were the main points, the difficult situation which we can face when it comes to setting up global companies. So the first one is definitely the language. Legal complexity, which again can incorporate the language, because if you're setting up a company in English, you have to register the number and the one that is in Greek. We have the issue that we need network support. Why it's a pain? Because sometimes you don't find the support. So that is so it's a positive, negative there in that case. And even within the network from office to office, we find the pricing difference. So if we are approaching a client with a quote, and office may quote a price for setting up a company, and another office for a subsidy will of the same group will give a cheaper or more expensive quote, which may result in issues with the client. The second area within the value proposition is the customer expectations. What does the customer expect from us, and what we provide to the customers actually. So there's the senior level service. We provide the customer with a many times partner to client relationship, so he will get the knowledge right from a senior or from a junior, who will then refer to the manager, to the senior, and the things that happen in bigger firms. We are proud of having a one-stop shop service in many of our offices, and we're talking about how important it is to have an office where one can provide both service, one-stop shop service, and geographical also one-stop service within the network, and not within the local office. And then what does the client expect from us is that we'll help them to set up the most efficient structure, the most efficient local setup, where they can increase his income, his revenue, and improve the results, and that will keep him happy to pay the prices which we bought. What should be the pricing strategy? That's where we're coming now. And the pricing strategy should be based on local experts' knowledge. Okay, we can provide a good knowledge to the client, a good service in that sense. So we have to equate, we have to balance the fee we are quoting with the knowledge we are providing. We provide also the pricing strategy should be, we provide support in all aspects, and for a company, for a business to start its operations. And then you mentioned the bank and holding. So we provide all the service required. And the last one was flat fee, quotes, flat fees provision, also, they also with exceptions. So that is what we spoke about. I don't know whether there are other points which you would like to add. What it is?
No, it's just great. It's perfect summary, great handwriting, by the way.
So,
All the rest.
so we are focusing on a client which is an old economy, and we are well, a service, we do accounting, tax and payroll. So we identified a few recent questions that we had, starting with the pain that we are solving for the client. Well, there are two options here, or two case scenarios that can happen. Of course, one is that the company, in this case from the old economy, expand in another country. So in this case, they don't know anything about the place. So the solution relates to explaining and let's say assisting the potential client into entering the country. The other situation is where the company is already there and they are looking for an alternative to their current situation, which could be or that they move from internal into outsourcing or from an existing provider to a new one.
I guess the points we discussed about why the client would choose us for providing the service is to feel the client secure because we have the expertise and we can provide a proactive services and follow more and with a reasonable pricing and in a one-stop shop.
Very well. Somebody else? Please, don't be shy.
So the third question was about what benefits do the customers have when they come to Ecovis, and yeah, it's the personalized approach. So we don't have one fit all proposal, for example, usually, but we see what is the customer's situation, and then based on that situation, we customize our proposals, for example, so that feels, of course, the customer feels feel that, and the partners are often involved in the transaction, so it's not that only that the junior people are communicating with the customers, dealing with the customers, but the partners themselves are in touch with the clients, and of course that gives the clients the feeling that they are well taken care of.
Next. Go on, Christus.
I don't remember what was the question.
Solution.
How do we improve the customer situation?
Given the solution and the proactivity is our main strength of this in this field.
Yeah, this one-stop shop approach and the fact that we have also senior management involved in most of our clients, we identify hands-on solution and proactively improvement of the situation. Finally, first,
Why customer choose us before?
yeah, why customer choose us?
Time of reaction, global organization, and we show them that they're important to us. It doesn't matter what turnover they have for us. They have the same treatment.
Which is in a way in the nature of our organization, which are kind of boutique sites, or anyway, we're not too big, so we are able to address at the same site.
Yes,
At
and
the same time,
our view, we create value because we are the right size for the right size of the client. We are not too small, we have global organization, but we are not too big to lose the proactivity and the personalization of the services.
We grow with our clients together. Together we grow business.
Final point?
Turn it around.
Customer purchase motivation. So why do clients
Normally approach this kind of services and they are initially very sensitive to price, but at the end, when you ask them better, you are patient and you try to understand their expectation, you understand that the motivation is not only the price, but the balance between price quality and timing and responsiveness as a good service.
Okay. Anything else to add? Guess not. Thank you very much.
So we picked a client group that we thought would be the most interesting one, namely startups and also digital-driven companies. Why? Because they have a very specific set of pain points, in our opinion. For example, they don't have a lot of money yet, so they can't possibly afford a huge accounting firm and whatever. So they might turn into a big company, but they're not there yet. Also, they can't possibly have internal experts yet for accounting, for taxes, for all of that. So they really need help. And certainly, this is not really a pain point. This is more of an opportunity that can turn into a problem. What do I mean? If you have digital products, you can cross international borders very easily, maybe without even realizing that you need accounting services, VAT, and whatever. I mean, if you sell shoes, you will have to think of shipping and all of that before you can sell it in another country. If you have an app or software, and it's there. And you might even forget that you have to pay VAT in another country. So
True.
okay, so these are the pain points. What needs to be fulfilled? Well, we discussed a bit about it. You can see that we had a big discussion on this. So obviously accounting, VAT, but also maybe payroll, maybe even employing
Foreign employment.
employee services, because you might want to hire people remotely if you have a startup. You can have programmers in India or whatever. So that's what we want to have our customers with. What are the benefits of our services? Obviously, the international network that we have, and we can provide the security of a well-established big brand. Because, yeah, if you have a small company, maybe they think they have no international business, but they don't. So that's what we can provide. And also, we have experts and professionals in different industries and for different services or very specific cases. We do have all of that. That's also basically the answer for the next question. Also, we are a one-stop shop. We have a full service. We have a network. And our reputation is something that signals to possible clients that we need business and we don't. We're not fraudulent or whatever, but because we have something to lose, we're a big network. Yeah, pricing. We weren't sure what the correct English word was, but because we chose small and startup companies, we can't charge all that much in the beginning, so it has to be an adjusted pricing model. You mentioned something about maybe discounts for the first year. The company may turn into the next unicorn, but it may also fail. So we have to consider that with our pricing strategy. And then we ran out of time. So
Yeah, and expertise, of course. In front of shop, I think it's even more important to plan.
If I may comment on that, that's a very good point. Also because, for example, a lot of our competitors, especially if they are, let's say the sites, I'm not necessarily talking about other networks, but let's say our sites, they don't necessarily offer the one-stop shop. Because, for example, if they are big groups that are centralized, that owned by a foreign private equity, for example, or by family or whatever, they often cannot do, for example, legal advisory or audits. We can, and you know, or in other cases, maybe if it's a local firm which is not part of a network, then they don't necessarily can help you in other places. So there's a lot of things where this part becomes very important.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, other experiences, insights gained? Well, really proposition?
I like the fact that the senior people involved in the relationship. They can also ask to achieve the presentation. That's
Okay. Well, thank you.
I found interesting that that a person that is specifically hired for international clients is helpful. That's you, Julia. And for example, I was hired exactly for that. I had basically Julia's role. And it was nice to hear because
It's
Yeah.
key. It's not
Yes.
it's key for the future.
yeah. No, it's good to know that actually it's very important for the. I mean, I know it of course, but it's good to hear that it's important for the growth and
Yeah.
for
Not necessarily. If you are fantastic expert in income tax, you can organize the work and meet the expectation of the client.
But maybe it's also learning for Ecos International. Maybe we should organize for these kind of people, these international client manager role or whatever, some workshops or some some networking. These because every offices have this kind of role, others have not. So it makes absolutely sense to organize.
Customer success management. Yes.
Can I ask something? Do you introduce that person once you've onboarded the client? So the client's already an existing client, seen you in the corporate work on, and then you have the relationship person, or they're there on take on already?
By experience, by doing, we learn that if since the beginning you invite to participate any meeting a person who is dedicated to understand the discussion, the question, the request, and the introduction, you speed up a lot the process. So anytime the client is asking you to provide some description, company presentation, quotation, proposal, text of the engagement, calculation, and back and forth, if you invite since the beginning someone who is more and more expert of this, let's say, sales activity, the client, then this person will become familiar to the client, and after you are engaged, they tend to ask anytime who they can address this question, who they can ask for further support.
This person must be professional from your point of view, or can be?
No,
Doesn't matter.
no, she decided to graduate after this assignment.
Yeah, very interesting learning. Our time is up in 5 seconds. So I thank you very much for your work. And my understanding is that you would have needed at least half a day or 1 day to really dive into this topic. Yeah, this is my understanding. This was really rushed for you now. I understand this, but we really wanted to take the opportunity to start discussion, but we will not end it here. For us in the marketing world, this is the starting point to develop these strategic value proposition services for the clients further. And so thank you very much for your input.
We are so few people in the marketing board with thousands of colleagues in the network. So our main goal today is that you contaminate more your colleague to participate this kind of activity, because we have really the potential to double and triple our international clients. But it's up to you, because we work already a lot, few people, but we need to involve and contaminate more and more colleagues in this kind of skill specialization.
And in the future, we are always happy if you see the potential, we want to continue to do something, setting up an online workshop or anything, we can do that easily, and especially I'm there to help organizing this. So thank you very much for this really interesting work together.
This is